Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be my wife's backup plan? Original post. I 34 male, wife 35 female. We have 3 kids and have been having marital problems for years. It reached a boiling point end of 2021 and we separated but got back together in 2022. Part of the condition of getting back together was that we attend therapy every 2 weeks for an entire year. We only ended up doing therapy for about 3 to 4 months, and my wife said she wasn't getting anything out of it. I didn't see the point in going so often. We both disliked the therapist, so I agreed, and we had noticed that things were getting better, so we were working on it on our own. The reasons we went to therapy and why we were having problems were A, she was not attracted to me at all anymore. B, she didn't want me touching her. She felt repulsed by my touch. I didn't want hugs/kisses/cuddling or any type of affection. C, she wants to explore her sexuality with other people, men or women. We've been together since our early teens and have only been with each other. D, she wanted to be alone. She had this feeling that she would be happier by herself. Things were getting better until a few days ago. I found an old confession she had written out from 18 years ago when a mutual friend kissed her. That was supposed to have been the entire story, but it details how much she liked the attention, and she actually pulled him into another room and kissed him. It didn't go any further than that, but I was still reeling. I asked her about it, and she said it was so long that she didn't really remember, but we're married and she's been faithful for the entire time, and we have a life together. I said okay, and it would take me a little bit to get over it, but our marriage wasn't in jeopardy and I just needed some time to adjust. Friday night, she told me a mutual guy friend who she was talking to has some issues, said they weren't going to be talking anymore. She was using my wife as an emotional support crutch, and his therapist suggested he stop leaning on her so much. I didn't like how much they chatted, but never voiced this. I asked her if there was more to this, and she confessed that he's been saying I love you for a while, and on Monday made a joke about how he liked her behind. All she said was, "Dude, come on," and he apologized. But I was upset that she didn't shut that down or draw a boundary. He was also asking her to hang out just the 2 of them, and she said no. Yesterday was a special anniversary for us and I wasn't in a good mood. We went for a walk and she kept asking me what was wrong, so I told her. I said, I'm upset about the cheating situation. I'm upset that you didn't set clear boundaries and shut his advances down sooner. And I'm upset that I keep planning for activities for anniversaries for years, and she couldn't be bothered to plan anything for today. As we were walking, I noticed she was starting to cry, and so we sat down on a bench. I asked her what was wrong, and she basically told me she still wants to explore things with other people. She likes the attention she gets from other men. She still wants to be alone, and she's still repelled by my touch, and has been pretending for a year, but doesn't want any physical affection from me whatsoever. She says she doesn't want to lose me or the life we've built, so we agreed to go back into therapy. But after thinking about it last night, I'm not sure if I want to continue. She's lied about so much, and I feel like I'm just her safety net. I'm waiting for her to decide to end the marriage because she wants to sleep with other people or just be alone, and I don't think it's fair for me to be a backup plan. I apologize for the length of the post, but felt full context was needed. Would I be the a-hole if I asked a divorce even though we agreed to go to therapy? Edit. For those people who have messaged me to ask, I'd like to clarify a couple things. 1. We both share responsibilities for the house. We both do dishes, laundry, cleaning, taking care of the kids. I don't have any problems communicating household tasks. I'm not some fat, negligent husband who sits on his butt and lets her watch the kids and cook and clean. 2. The reason I wanted to stop therapy with his therapist was my wife was chatting with a coworker and the message went inappropriate. I was fixing a backup phone that our kids used at work when I saw the messages pop up. I asked her about them and she gaslit me. She had already deleted them and told me they didn't exist. When I told her I saw them on the other phone, she apologized and confessed and stopped talking to the coworker. When I told the therapist this, she brushed it off and made it seem like it was my fault, and I realized she only had my wife's interest at heart and not mine. 3. My wife has always had validation issues. She loses all common sense when someone else compliments her or gives her attention. I've tried for 20 years to be enough for her, but she finds other people's comments to be better. 4. Why am I still here? Despite everything, I absolutely love my wife with all of my heart. We have 3 children who I don't want to lose 50% of my time with, which will happen if we go shared custody. She is the most beautiful woman I've ever laid my eyes on, and she still makes me weak. 3 kids and 20 years later. I'm going to get a lot of insults of this, but this is the hardest decision of my life, and I don't want to live without her. I understand that for my own value and self-respect, I might have to, but it's incredibly hard. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Would not be the a-hole. You do deserve to be married to someone who isn't repulsed by you. I commend the attempt at therapy, but you're going to therapy to change your wife's mind about her attraction to you and desire for other men's affections. You went to therapy for 3 to 4 months, and your wife said she wasn't getting anything out of it because she doesn't want to change her mind. So what? You're going to sit around hoping she does? I'm not even sure that's an appropriate use for therapy. I'm sorry you're experiencing this. Not the a-hole, and I wish you all the best. Not the a-hole. I'd be out. She's a cake eater. I'm no one's backup or plan B. You don't deserve that either. I used to think that every relationship has a reacher and a settler, and you were always going to be one or the other. You just had to decide which you'd rather be. If you had asked me a few years ago, I would have been confident that that was just reality. Then I met my wife and was so happy to find out that I was wrong. I can't even express how good it feels when both people are wholeheartedly invested and attracted. I feel really bad for Opie because I don't think there is any way to fix this relationship. If Opie's wife is that far gone, I can't see how her feelings could reverse enough to make this work. Now for the update. Just wanted to update everyone who sent me messages, who were interested, and who offered advice. I read through over 1,000 posts over 2 days, and last night I had a conversation with my wife. I wrote it down on my phone and asked her to listen to it and not interrupt, and we can talk after. Start of the note. I don't know what you thought you were going to accomplish by telling me that you were repelled by my touch. You want to explore your options with other men and women and want to be alone. I think you thought if you were just being honest, it was right and okay. But it showed me just how little respect you have for me. I don't think you realize just how insulting and disrespectful everything you said is. You do not consider my feelings at all. You seek validation from other men and never set any proper boundaries until either I find out or a line has been crossed. I literally cannot remember a time in 20 years where you have said, "Stop, this is inappropriate, and I don't think it should go any further." You let a mutual friend tell you he loved you and liked your behind, and you weren't even the one to stop communication. He was. His therapist could tell the conversation was unhealthy. I could tell the conversation was unhealthy, but you couldn't. You either don't respect me enough to put my feelings ahead of your own need for validation, or you simply don't care. I can't fix this, and you don't seem to want to fix this. I have been there for you for 20 years. I have never wavered in my love for you, my affection, my devotion, but you can't say the same. You clearly think you're missing out on something, and think exploring that in the arms of another person will fill that hole inside of you, but it won't. All it will do is leave you completely and entirely alone. Our family will be gone, I will be gone, and you will have nothing at all because you think the grass might be greener on the other side. I can't imagine a person who has a loving husband who cares for them, respects them and thinks the world of them, who has 3 beautiful kids, a great support network, good friends, and a loving family, that thinks if they abandon their entire life for some fleeting new experience, they will be fulfilled. You used me, plain and simple. I'm a safety net for you. You can spend all the time in the world trying to figure yourself out, and you'll have a safe spot to come home to. Not a partner, not someone you treat as a husband, but someone you lie to, lead them on, and take advantage of. I'm not a fallback. I am not a safety net. I'm a person who absolutely deserves love, touch, romance, and admiration. I deserve respect and reciprocation. I want to be clear that I absolutely think you not telling me about these issues and letting an entire year pass while letting me think things were improving and getting better is lying by omission. I will be attending therapy by myself to find out why I've been such a doormat, to figure out why I've tolerated such abuse and neglect from the person that was supposed to guard and protect me, who was supposed to share my life forever. I'm not at this time asking for a divorce, and provided you are not asking for one, things will need to move forward differently. You will need to attend therapy by yourself. After 6 months of both of us being in therapy, we can talk about doing couples therapy. You will stop seeking validation from other men. I do not want to police your conversations, but single men should not be people you talk daily with until you go through therapy and can clearly set boundaries and enforce them if they are broken. You have to win me back. You will have to woo me and get me to fall in love with you again. I expect romance and dates in our daily lives. The fact that I can't be romantic with you because you decided you didn't like it, but also decided that because you don't like romance, that I don't deserve it, is very selfish. I will not, under any circumstances, accept an open marriage. I don't ever want to hear of it again. I am not okay with you being sexual with men or women other than myself. Asking for monogamy shouldn't be that big of an ask. And if that truly is a deal breaker for you, I understand. And we can divorce and you can pursue other people. I acknowledge that some of what I'm saying is demanding, but I'm standing up for myself and what I want. I deserve better and will not settle for just enough any longer. If anything I've said here makes you want to say you are done, we can separate and file for divorce. We'll sell the house and agree upon a 50-50 custody agreement for the kids. I will never use the kids to hurt you and will co-parent with you the absolute best of my abilities. Despite the harsh tone, I will still reiterate that I love you with all of my heart and want to spend my entire life with you, watching our children grow up together. But I will not be an afterthought anymore. I won't play second fiddle to an imaginary life you might want to pursue. End of note. One of the things she has always said to me when we have conversations is, I don't know if I'll ever be enough for you. She says this because she doesn't know if she can meet my expectations of what a good loving wife should be. I told her this time that, you may think you don't know if you can be enough for me, but right now I know I am not enough for you. We talked for a while, and she is going to therapy. We are going to work in our relationship. And while I know many, if not all of you think I should just divorce her right now, I can't just throw away 20 years without giving it my absolute all. I don't know if this will work out or not, but I thank each and every one of you for helping me find the strength to stand up for myself. It might not be the ending you wanted to see, but I am hopeful. Mate, I wish you all the best, but I would have divorce papers drawn up and ready to hand over at her at the drop of a hat. This dude is just too close to see it. The only avenue she has and will explore is cheating, if she doesn't want to lose the fallback option right away. The wife is not a loyal person or someone anyone sane wants around. She has made it clear what she wants and how she feels about you. OP leaving has a greater chance of getting her to see that she's in the wrong and realize she does have feelings for him than his attempt to regain control over his situation. I mean, I stuck around when my husband cheated, but not because I sincerely thought he'd change. I just knew myself well enough to know I'd always worry I hadn't tried hard enough. So I opted for one last chance for my own sanity. I have no regrets. I found my backbone and left on my terms, and that was best for me. It may be the same for Opie. I hope so at least. Maybe we all deal with our situations differently, and that might be stepping stool way of dealing with it. Putting myself in his shoes, it feels like he is giving himself a false sense of control and might get blindsided. Last story. Am I the a-hole for ending things with a girl because she was sleeping with other people even though it was before we were exclusive? I, 32 male, am fairly happy with the life I've built for myself. My career, hobbies, and platonic relationships are more than enough to keep me happy, and don't actively look for relationships or intimate partners, even though I do hope to get married someday. Of course, sometimes people do come into my life and we date or sleep together, but it's not an obsession like I see with most of my friends. Then I met Helen, 28 female, at a party through mutual friends, and we really hit it off. I asked her out, and we had a great first date, and ended up sleeping together. Things seemed to move relatively quick from there. We saw each other about 5 times in a span of 2 weeks after our first date, all the while texting and even having an occasional phone call. I won't lie, I felt like I was falling pretty hard for this girl. She was everything I could have imagined wanting in a life partner. Intelligent, independent, passionate, and kind. Not to mention gorgeous. Well, it all went south last week when she asked me if I was seeing anyone else. I told her of course not, and that I don't sleep with multiple people at the same time. But then I wondered about her, and she told me she had been seeing 2 other guys, but she wanted to be exclusive with me. I asked her if she had been sleeping with them, and she said yes. She had even slept with both of them at least once since we started dating. Once I gathered my thoughts, I told her I didn't want to see her anymore. Here I thought the feeling was reciprocated, but I found out I was just one of a few items on the menu for her. She started to get upset and told me that since we hadn't discussed exclusivity, she didn't owe me anything and that it was the whole point of this discussion. I told her that while she didn't owe me it, the fact that she didn't stop seeing those other guys on her own volition showed that either she didn't feel the same way about me as I did about her, or we have totally different ideas around sex and intimacy. She said she had dated so many guys in the past who wouldn't commit, so she didn't want to end up alone if I wouldn't be exclusive. I could feel the hurt she had gone through when she said this, but I guess I don't understand. Why keep around casual partners if you want something serious? If she wasn't willing to take a risk for me and potentially get hurt because of her past experiences, I don't want to play the role of intimacy therapist. I didn't say this part to her though, so I told her my mind was made up, and she left in tears. Anyway, my friends pretty much dogpiled on me after hearing about it. They told me I was an a-hole and brought up a bunch of talking points about feminism and slut shaming. It seemed pretty unfair since I never tried to make Helen feel bad about herself. I just didn't think we were compatible, and it seemed better to end it then and there. Now for the top comments. No a-holes here. You're allowed to end any relationship for any reason if you're not comfortable continuing it. She's allowed to sleep with whoever she wants, and she's not in an established, agreed-upon monogamous relationship. Moving forward though, I would strongly recommend being very clear what your wants and relationship expectations are when you are dating though, as expecting mutual exclusivity in a relationship when you have not discussed that expectation is just setting yourself and someone else up for a fall. Yeah, you should have had that talk with her after being intimate with her the first time to show you were serious about her and that you all having sex together meant something to you, and it means you don't sleep around. Why would she automatically know that about you if you had not stated that right away, when it doesn't mean the same thing to so many other men? She tried to tell you that. No a-holes here. She did nothing wrong, and you are entitled to end things if you want to. If only they'd had a conversation before sleeping together the first time. So many things can be solved or prevented with a conversation.